I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street. There's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. This is the 478th episode of the Political Spotlight. I'm your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey, coming to you live on a still warm but cooler than it has been Sunday evening, Sunday, June 29th, 2025. It is 9:05 p.m. Eastern. Generally, we will talk about it during the equinox, but I was just busy with so much chaos, political chaos and nonsense and corruption going on, that we unfortunately did not cover the rather unfortunate happening that was a week and 2 days ago. 1 week and 2 days ago was Friday, January 20th. Look at me. Friday, June 20th, rather, which was the equinox, the summer equinox. And that means, ladies and gentlemen, that it was the longest day of the year, which is fantastic. But sadly, it means the daylight is now getting shorter. We are marching towards the shortest day of the year, which will occur sometime between the 20th and 22nd of December 2025, which is just about news that would make me jump off a bridge. I don't really know, but there we are. We're like 5 days into it. I can actually tell it's darker now than it was this time 5 days ago. Whew, sad. All right. I always feel like that should happen in July. It feels like we're cheated with it happening in June. Like it should be pushed further. Come on, something is really screwed up with this. Well, that's not what we're talking about here tonight. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is a political commentary program, and we've got some commentary for you. We are kind of in a holding period right now as we're waiting. Some big things happened right towards the end of last week, and we've covered a couple of those. I am waiting on some record requests. I will tell everybody that's been poking me and saying, hey, what about Dustin Clark? What about Dustin Clark? We've not talked about Dustin in a minute. Well, I will tell you, he is apparently getting ready to be happily married, so he's going to need some money rolling in. So I have filed a new record request. We will be getting that soon. So that's that. The queue has come up on the screen, as you'll notice, for you guys to like this episode, please take your little fingers, walk them over, and hit the thumb. Give us a like. That would be fantastic if you would. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Click the bell. And if you want to communicate with us, you do so over here on the right-hand side. If you want to communicate with us via the future, in the future via the replay button, you'll communicate down here. And above all else, wherever you are, whether you're in real time now or in the future, share the show with everyone you know. Also, you can communicate with us on all of our social medias and follow us on our social medias there by clicking those links and finding those things at the bottom of the screen. So yeah, here old Dustin and what's her name? Holly, whatever the old communication director's name was. They're getting married, I guess. So they're going to need to be getting money. And a source from City Hall actually said, "Hey, have you, Michelle? She looks like a Holly to me. A Molly, a Holly Molly. That ought to be her name. Michelle Holly Molly Owen." Somebody from City Hall said, "Hey, have you checked on how much money he's been earning?" And I said, "No, not in a minute." I said, I figured that I would do it twice a year. I would do it like in January, and then I would do it again in like June or July, and everything would be for the 6 months prior. So I'm always going to be 6 months behind, but that's how it works. I can't get anything for the future. So I'm getting ready to put in a record request. But just as I was looking back through some records on the City of Muncie's controller page, I noticed for the month of May, it seems as though he made $14,000 just for the month of May. So, you know, I don't exactly know what he did in the month of May. We're going to have to get his invoices as well. But if you that's like $3,500 a week. But I have heard that there are people that are around City Hall that are speculating that he could be on track to make about $250,000 in the year 2025. And when you look at what he's actually doing, it's quite laughable. So we will be putting that in soon. And of course, I'm sure we'll have to wait for months and months and months. You know, what I ought to do is I ought to put it in like March and say, hey, this is for June. So just start keeping track of everything and have this ready to me by like the last day of June. Don't slow roll me. Don't do any of that weirdness. I'm just letting you know in advance. I want to know how much money he's made during these last 6 months period. So by the time we get to June 30th, just have them ready. So we'll have to see. I don't know. That's not what we're talking about. We're kind of talking about that. I'm going to talk about Dustin a little bit more here towards the end. We've got a couple of different topics that we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Lieutenant Governor, Micah Beckwith. And I feel like that probably affects everybody. It should affect everybody. Everybody should be paying attention to what's going on with this guy. First of all, a document that's come out that said the relationship between the governor and the lieutenant governor is at like an all-time low. They are just absolutely not working together. They are totally at odds. The governor has appointed someone to be kind of like the point man for agriculture, and did so without talking to the lieutenant governor at all. And agriculture is like one of the only things that's been left under the lieutenant governor's purview, which it makes sense because the lieutenant governor's busy playing the drums at Guitar Center. He's been jumping out of airplanes in the middle of the work week, doing a whole bunch of other things that are just really not government related in any way. And I made a joke to another political commentator over the weekend and said, it's honestly like they're filming a really bad reality TV show that would be like on the CW or be like on the Learning Channel or like on the channel that does Honey Boo Boo, like right after the Honey Boo Boo Mama June drama. Like, it's like, next up, the, rock and roll preaching governor of Indiana and his crew drive around county to county, getting into all kinds of wild hijinks. And somebody said that he's recently changed his glasses, and that the glasses that he has gotten thicker up here, like the old horn-rimmed glasses, and that the thought is that he's Google videoing everything that he's doing, and that they're really trying to push some kind of idea of getting him some kind of a show, or he's got about 15 different podcasts that he puts about as much work into those as he does his day job, so they don't really go anywhere. But it's just, Stumblefoot said, I'm so over grifters grifting. And I'll tell you, you want to talk about like the head boss of the grifters, it's Micah Beckwith. Micah Beckwith is like, if we, figuratively speaking, if we cut that grifter's head off, all the other grifters would just die. It's kind of like in the Lost Boys or whatever. You kill the head vampire and all the rest of them finally, bust. What have you sent me here, Kate? Uh-oh. Take a look at that. That's some crazy shit. How much total? Can you tell me how much? Did you add all that up? If you get a second, can you add all that up? Maybe Beckwith could get a gig impersonating Elvis. I don't know about Elvis, but he could sure sign some autographs for Seth MacFarlane. I mean, that joke, I'm so over that joke, but I don't like Seth MacFarlane or Micah Beckwith. That's the thing there. I can't stand either one of those humans. I'm trying to find this thing here real quick to show you before we really get into it. He has so many. God, I'm so sick of it. Let me show you here. Had an outstanding time connecting with fellow Republicans at the Delaware County GOP Elephant Open. Special thanks to my teammates, State Representative J.D. Prescott, Corey Criswell, and Brad Barrett. Delaware County GOP Chair Tim Overton and his team put on a great event that saw significant increase in participation from last year. Their leadership is growing the party by leaps and bounds in East Central Indiana. they pulled in a couple tired Democrats, tired of the current party, but also just tired themselves, and they feel like that's growing it in leaps and bounds. Lord have mercy. Help me. Where are the good elected officials at? Let's look at his magnificent video production that they put together. Take a look at this. Does this have volume? Let's hear it. That's great. Who are these people? Oh, yep. This is the worst pictures. You can't tell who any of these idiots are. You can't like they got the picture of every person's ass in here. Look, these are all the Republicans. You got to guess who these Republicans are by their ass. What? Why would someone take a picture like this? What exactly is this picture? You cut off right below the knees and right above the neck. What is this picture? How much are we paying the people that took? What's this? Kate was looking down. She didn't even see it. What the hell kind of picture is this? Dear Lord. What freaks. Okay, there it got a little bit better. It just cut off half their head. Can you tell who any of these people are? The only, yeah, right, Kate. The only one that you can tell in here is J.D. Prescott, because even though his head is still the size of a peanut ant, you can still tell that he has a weird ass smile going, because he's the only one. There's two of them. Corey Criswell, because he's always leaned forward, because he's always got like a stick up his ass. He's the one in the red. Looks like he's going to lean completely forward on us. And J.D. Prescott, because he's always trying to cheese so big. Somebody needs to tell that boy how to smile. There it is. This is a horrible, 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 horrible picture. All right, I got to get away from that. I got to get away from it. That's all I can do with that. So that was going on. That's not what I was looking for, but I'm looking for one more thing here. Give me a second. And if I can't find it, we'll get started. But this is the thing that he did last week that really got on my nerve. Like, he does so many things that just absolutely gets on my nerves. Okay, so this was like last Tuesday. Like, good thing we're paying him to do this. You know, not the only picture. Never mind, I'm not even going to say it. I bet there's more than one picture with this kind of same setup, but we'll just leave it at that. Okay. We'll get out of there. Let's go look. We got one more picture I'm looking for here. That's still not it, amazingly. Like, if anybody could ever get a picture of this dude actually doing work, that's what would be truly amazing. I don't mean sitting down for a podcast. I don't mean going and arguing with random people in different communities. I mean, if you could ever get a picture of this guy doing actual work, I would like someone to send it here. Someone needs to send it to me, because I would love to have it. If someone could actually send me a real life picture of this man doing real life work. It's just really crazy what he's got going on. See right here. I know it's here somewhere. I knew I should have saved this. Talked about it, but that's just the 27th. He posts so much damn nonsense that it's hard to even go back through and look through and find anything of actual value because, well, first of all, he doesn't really post anything of value. But then you just scroll and you scroll and you scroll and you scroll, and like I'm still just to the 27th. And that was just 2 days ago. Oh, yep. I found it. Good Lord. This offends me on so many levels. This offends me as a lover of politics, as a political junkie. This offends me as a lover of music. Kate, I see that. And moreover, this offends me as a 32-year veteran of the drums. This offends me in so many ways. Any good? You think he's any good? If he's any good. God. Someone said, is that the only pair of pants he has? Him and Matt Kantz have one pair of pants. I think they share it between them. I don't know. Very strange. Well, enough of that. We've got so much more to talk about, actual real stuff where it concerns this ignorant. Yeah, he's not a good drummer. He's definitely not a good drummer. Maybe that smile is Gary. So how many of you remember you? Yeah, right. That's exactly right, Stumblefoot. That is 100% correct. So I don't know how many of you, there were probably some of you that followed this story, but I don't know how many. I didn't hear a lot of people talking about this, but how many of you followed in the last couple of weeks while the Pacers were on their run and they were making their big play and they were in the playoffs and doing their thing, and every other couple of days they would be either in New York, then they would be back here, then they would be back to New York, then they would be back here, then they were here, then they were in Oklahoma, or in where were they? Oklahoma, then they were back here. Well, like a lot of other people, these elected officials were going to a lot of the games. And it's just a perk. If you watch Indie Reporter, they just went over and talked about how the old IEDC, I'm sure the new IEDC was, part of their deal is to hand out packages of tickets and things like that. Well, I don't know how many of you followed this story. They talked about this on WIBC. Indie Reporter's the one that really ran with this. Steve Whitmer. And this is the deal here. There were pictures that had, okay, so the picture over here is Diego Morales. And the man here in the white is obviously Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith. The man here in the gray, in the gray is Michael Sherfick, and then Sherfick's, I guess, wife. Here we see Diego Morales and his wife. And Diego Morales says, such a special night with my wife, Sedona, as we attend the wedding of our close friends, Mike and Carson, wishing the newlyweds many years filled with happiness at Professor Sherfick. Okay. Then we see here Diego and his wife, and we see Diego and his wife with Sherfick again. And there's all kinds. There's another picture that's got Diego and Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith. And so basically what happened was, when this happened, Indy Reporter ran on this story. Michael Sherfick, a former local law enforcement official, pled guilty today, and this was several years ago. This was 2007. Pled guilty today in 2007 in a U.S. District Court for Southern District of Indiana to criminal information charging him with conspiracy to commit bribery concerning programs receiving federal funds, announced Assistant Attorney General Lanny A. Brewer of the Criminal Division. Sherfick was sentenced today by U.S. District Court Judge William Lawrence, 14 months in prison, 3 years of supervised release. Following the prison term, Sherfick was also ordered to pay a $35,750 fine. Okay? Well, basically, if you look here on what this guy's criminal charges were, okay, he was charged with a C felony, a D felony, a C felony, arson, theft, receiving stolen property, insurance fraud, insurance application fraud, different cases, different charges, all these things going on. And these are state charges. Those are not the federal charges. Okay, so the question that the Indy reporter, Stephen Whitmer, was asking was, wait a minute. This is the lieutenant governor of the state of Indiana. Does he not, or does his team not vet the people that he's out here running around with, the people that have access to him? Well, stand by on that, Stumblefoot. Stand by on that gun question, because we're going to take a whole kind of weird ass trick and pony bag here. So this was excellent reporting on behalf of Whitmer and his team at Indy Reporter. And second chances are great. Second chances are great. I would even reach out and say third chances could be great. Now, generally, when you're giving second chances or third chances, you kind of like to see that the person or the people or whoever you're giving these chances to are actually taking steps to actually better their life, to do better. Okay? Well, here's the thing. When this was put out, I thought this is a good story. And I shared it. That's all I did. I said, look at this story by Indy Reporter. Bam! And I posted it. And the next day, I got contacted. This is like 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Let me see when Indy Reporter... Oh, I deleted it. This was several weeks ago when this was posted. And I shared it to my wall. I shared it on Twitter and I shared it on Facebook. And I told people, hey, look at this. This is some work that Indy Reporter did. It just calls into question what Micah Beckwith is doing, who he's running around with, yada, 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 all of that. Okay? So this would have been posted back on June 10th, 12th, 13th, right around in there. Then the next day, they came up with that Sherfick owned a location where they were doing adult swingers club. They had BDSM. They had drag shows and a lot of other things there that were just questionable. Not saying that it's wrong. Adults that are all above the age of consent, and consenting adults can do whatever they want to do. It's just a question of, keep in mind, not only is Beckwith the lieutenant governor, but he also proclaims to be a Christian who is a preacher. And he proclaims to live a certain lifestyle. So the question just is, what's in this man's mind? Who does he surround him with? Who has access to him? What favors do these people get? And what is he giving access to? Okay. And like Kate said, Beckwith is very loud about the gay and trans movement. So it's just interesting that it seems like one of these dudes that he's like broing out with is like part of this whole culture. This lifestyle. Okay. So I post all of this, just kind of giving a nod to Indie Reporter. I get contacted the next day by a friend of mine from up north, a law enforcement officer, that says, "Hey, are you connected to Indie Reporter?" And I said, "I'm friends with the guy. I'm friendly with him, Stephen Whitmer. We're friends. You'll see him on here sometimes. You'll see people that watch his program on here. I watch their program. We bounce back and forth. We're in the same sphere, but like we don't know each other, but we're becoming friendly." And he said, "Well, listen," he said, "he's on the right track. They're on the right track, but you got to dig further with this Michael Sherfick, because there's more shit here than what you're seeing." And I was like, "Oh, tell me more." And they're like, yeah. There's far more, and it's more serious than what your buddies are putting on here. And I was like, "Okay, what are we talking about?" And he said, "Well, it was like, just understand." He was like, he was like, "Sex crimes, dude." And he was like, just be digging up. And I was like, "Okay, you've got my interest." So for the last 2 weeks, I've been digging. I've been exploring in this. I've been contacting people, and I couldn't find anything. I was not able to find anything. Well, on Friday night, that changed. Friday night, we did our last show on Thursday. We did a show on Thursday with Catherine, and then we were off as we're normally off Friday and Saturday. Friday night, I was doing some digging and making some connections to sources and the whatnot. And I ran across, and I finally got my hands on something. Someone had told me that Sherfick had actually been arrested for and charged with rape, attempted rape. And I'm like, whoa, that's pretty serious. Rape, attempted rape. Like what? That's pretty serious stuff here. So I was like, well, like everything I do, I got to have my hands on it. You can't just tell me that. I got to get my hands on this. And I was having a hard time finding this. And then, just as it so goes, I got my hands on a legal document, a legal filing. Put this up here on the screen for you and let you see this. Okay, this says State of Indiana, County of Marion. Okay, now in this section it says Michael Sherfick v. the State of Indiana. Because what this is in this situation, the criminal case had already happened, and he was trying to fight for post-conviction relief. You see here in the title, it's right here, findings of fact and conclusions of law denying post-conviction relief. So in every other document, it would have been State of Indiana versus Michael Sherfick. But Michael Sherfick was wanting to change something after he had been convicted. And we see here that they denied him. They denied him. So it says, findings of fact and conclusions of law denying post-conviction relief. And it shows here a cause number. The cause number is 49G0693, which means it happened. This 9312 means it happened in December of 1993. The year and then the month. So 93 is the year, 12 is December. PC 171908 says, as required by Indiana post-conviction rule, findings of fact. On December 22nd, 1993, the state charged petitioner Michael Sherfick with 1 count each of criminal deviant conduct, which is connected to the sex crimes, and attempted rape, both as Class B felonies. At petitioner's initial hearing on December 28th, 1993, attorney Angel Lewis something entered his appearance as petitioner behalf. During the course of his representation, Ortez filed notice of deposition stating, and we can't see all of this document, okay, because it was taken as a picture like this. So I released this picture as it is. I am working it out. This week, I'm going to go get my hands on all of these documents. Okay. So the next document up is this little document. This says Indiana Sheriff's Sex Offender Registry. Offender details: Michael Stephen Sherfick. List the address at the time. Age at the time 34. White, 6'3", 6'3", brown eyes, medium build. Male, medium, 150 pounds, black hair. Charges: sexual battery. Sentence: 3 years suspended, 1 year probation. Conviction: County Marion. Conviction date: Indiana. Conviction date: 12/9/94. Status: active. Offender type: lifetime notification. So this means this man was a lifetime sexual registry list. Okay, this is stuff's important to know. And this is here. So here's a picture of Morales. Here's a picture of Beckwith. Here's a picture of Michael. Here is his mugshot. Here's a picture of him now. Okay. And the strange part about this is when you type this man into the sexual registry list, he's not there. When you type these cause numbers into the My Case or Docs Pops, they're not there. Now, he did file for clemency, asking for the parole board and or the governor to wipe that record clean. He did that in 2007. He did that in 2007. He asked for his record to be wiped. second here. Let me pull this up. So I can show you, I'll show you this here. Here he was on the list. That might be hard for you guys to see. April 2007 clemency agenda, and it lists his name, Michael S. Sherfick, Marion County, sexual battery, 3 years suspended. Goes down through the list, tells us what he's got. So he applied for this. And the first thing I noticed is when they put in his sentenced date, they didn't put 12/6/94. They put 12/6/64. Well, when you're looking at clemency in 2007, does it look amazing if you haven't been in trouble for 12 years? Or does it look like you haven't been in trouble for, 60 years, 40 years, whatever there? That it looks a little bit different. But that could be a typo. So we'll leave over that. It's kind of like the Bo Baird stuff from a couple weeks ago. But more important question is, who would have helped with the clemency? Again, clemency is hard to pull off. Not just anybody can get that. Specifically, people who are on lifetime registry for the sexual registry list. You just don't get that wiped off your record. That's the point. The point is letting people know, yo, you need to be on the lookout for this dude. Something's a little off with him. Okay? So he's asking for clemency in April of 2007 for sex crimes that occurred in 1994, saying he was sorry and then he turned over a new leaf. Remember this whole idea of we give second chances and we understand people can do bad things and they can turn their life around, right? Well, remember that. And remember Stumblefoot's question about the guns here in a minute. So this was posted by WTHR back in November of 2007. I'm going to show you this. This says, Indianapolis State Police and the FBI are investigating whether a former Perry Township deputy constable who has a criminal record illegally sold law enforcement badges to people who 6 News' Jack Reinhart reported Friday. Authorities reached Michael Sherfick's Hamilton County home on Thursday in connection, searched. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm having a stroke. Authorities searched Michael Sherfick's Hamilton County home on Thursday in connection with the investigation. Sherfick, who was a Perry Township deputy constable, despite convictions including sexual battery, was fired in September after the FBI told his boss that Sherfick was suspected of selling deputy constable badges. No charges have been filed, but Perry Township Constable Roy Hutchins said authorities are checking allegations that Sherfick used his position to order badges and then illegally sold dozens of them to people who weren't law enforcement officers for $500 to $2,000 a piece. So this dude's out here selling access to police badges. Okay, keep that in mind. Sherfick has convictions on charges of sexual battery, impersonating police officers, and driving with a suspended driving sentence. So these are all various charges. So this isn't a one guy makes one big accident, then he kind of gets over it and cleans up. This guy has been arrested many, many, many different times. Earlier this year, remember this is November of 2007, just 7 months prior, in April, the Indiana Parole Board voted against his request to clear his criminal record. So they denied his clemency. The sexual battery conviction he pled guilty in 1994 in the case involving an Indianapolis woman was initially on a Class D felony charge. However, he later successfully petitioned a court to reduce that felony to a misdemeanor and get his name removed from the state's sexual offender registry. So this man, who was at one point considered a lifetime sexual offender who needed to be on the registry for lifetime, was able to get that wiped away one way or the other. And he was doing all of this at the exact same time that he was out here doing other criminal activity. So while he's out here doing this, getting himself removed from the sexual registry list, he's out here selling badges to people. Absolutely nuts. Absolutely crazy that this is going on. So now we jump forward and we look at hold on, let me see. He did. Okay, stand by here. Let me see. I'm going to have to pull off something here. He blocked me on social media. Yes, I did. Had a great 2 days. Busy as crap, but all the same. Give me a second. He locked his page down. Well, all right. Anyways, I can show you here. I can show you what we can see. What? I think I still have the same amount of facial hair now that I've always had. I think maybe I did. I don't know. It was all that extra beauty sleep I got. Okay, so I want to take you here and show you this guy's Facebook profile. Okay, here's his Facebook profile. Now, yesterday, he's blocked me. So yesterday, he had all of this. What in the hell was that? Okay, so look at this. He's on a flight. He's on a helicopter. This guy lives a life like you would think that this guy is like the total like jet setter out here just living this life. He's got race cars with his name on it, and he's out here balling with Pacers, and he's out here. He's just like, this dude's a mover and a shaker, okay? This guy's a mover and a shaker. And it's like, how do you go from being a sexual predator in 94 to 2007, you're in law enforcement selling badges to folks for $2,000 a pop. And he openly admitted that he was selling badges to other people that were like in the business world throughout Indianapolis and beyond, so they could get like parking spaces and to get out of tickets and things like this. Okay. And that's exactly, Stumblefoot, how he paid for that clemency. Well, before I was blocked from his social media, I managed to get a screenshot, and he had just posted this. He had just posted this. Let me see. This was 2 days ago. He posted this. This was on his wall 2 days ago. And look what it says here. Now, it might be hard for you guys to see. I'll read this to you. It's his post, Michael Sherfick. Who knows where Ben Thomas lives? DJ Nicholas Rage, DM me. Now, that might not be anything. That might not be anything major, okay? But then let's take a look at the comments. Send me all the information. I'll find him. Sounds like somebody FAFO. If you know, you know. Oh, snap. He owes me $60. Like, seriously. Michael Sherfick says he's about to find out. Certainly hate it when somebody's when my kindness is mistaken for weakness. Listen, this dude 2 days ago posting, anybody know where this guy is? DM me. We're about to pull up. This is not the post of a man who is an above board businessman. This is the post of a man who believes himself to be a thug. He thinks he's Tony Montana. He thinks that he's above it all. He's out here hanging with the Secretary of State and the Lieutenant Governor. He's selling badges. He can do or take whatever he wants at any times. Ask the woman he raped. So, again, I just want to know what is going on with the lieutenant governor. Are they seriously not running these people down? Like, there's one specific guy on the lieutenant governor's team that all he does is supposed to access the social media and all of this. And listen, you don't have to go as far as dox popping this guy or my casing him. You could simply just put his name in Google. It doesn't take what are we talking about? I've always had this. Kate, pull up here, Kate. Hold on, wait a minute. I need you for 1 second. Do I have any different facial hair now than I did Thursday?
No.
I didn't think I did. It's the same. I mean, it's not even a lot. It's not. Yeah. I mean, it grows the same. The hair here grows the same as the hair here.
It's not
it
nearly as majestic as Thornburg's.
It might. Yeah, that's what. But no, but this lady is like saying like is he on there?
Oh, he's asleep.
Oh, well, damn it. Well, that dude's got a mustache. This is nothing. You guys are nuts.
Yeah, yours is like peach fuzz.
Yeah, this is nothing.
Thornburg has rather majestic facial hair. No hair on top. But
yeah.
You got him beat there.
Right. Yeah.
Not that it takes much, but yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right, thank you much. That's funny. No. This is about as much as I do, and then I shave it all off. I got to go get my hair cut. I'm going to try tomorrow, but my places are normally not open on Monday. I am seriously sick of it. I've been sick of it for about the last 2 weeks. I got to get rid of it. That's hilarious, Megan. That's funny to me. So the point here is like our lieutenant governor is really surrounding himself with very questionable people. And I want to see, Heather, you've been sending me something. I want to see what it is you're sending me. That's hilarious, Megan. Okay, stand by. We got something going on here. See what you sent. Oh, God. I can't see it. All right, hold on. I'm going to have to read it off my phone. I'm not going to be able to post this up for you guys to see. I will have to screenshot this and pull this off later. So this is okay. So this is his federal charges in November of 2007, maybe 2009. See what this says. Perry Township was a local government located in Marion County, Indianapolis, received federal assistance in excess of $10,000 under federal program involving a grant in 2005, among other years. Pursuant to Indiana law, a law enforcement officer with the Perry Township Constable's Office, including a deputy constable, possessed full police powers, including, among others, the authority to carry a firearm and make arrests for criminal offenses in the same manner a police officer in cities within Indiana do. And from June of 2005 through September of 2007, defendant Michael Stephen Sherfick was an agent of Perry Township and the Perry Township Constable's Office. Let's see here. Sherfick held the following positions in rank with the office: honorary deputy constable, executive assistant, captain, and major. Persons A through I were citizens and business people from and in around Indiana. Company A was a manufacturer and supplier of law enforcement badges located in New York. See here. Various companies. The conspiracy. From or about June 2005 to in or about September 2007 in Southern District of Indiana, Michael Stephen Sherfick and others, known and unknown, unlawfully, willfully, and knowingly did combine, conspire, and confederate to agree together and with each other to commit offenses against the United States, to wit, to corruptly solicit and demand for the benefit of any person and solicit, demand, accept, and agree to accept a thing of value from a person intending to be influenced and rewarded in connection with a transition and series of transactions for the Prairie Township Constable's Office involving $5,000 or more in violation of Title 18 United States Code. The purpose of the conspiracy. It was part and object of the conspiracy for Sherfick and others to enrich themselves by obtaining substantial funds through fraud and concealment. It was further part and object to the conspiracy for Sherfick and others to obtain benefits for themselves and others through the corrupt means, manner and means of the conspiracy. To further the objects and goals of the conspiracy, Sherfick and others would, among other things, do the following: target business persons, including individuals referred herein, among others who wanted to possess and exercise certain powers associated with law enforcement authorities, solicit and receive payments of money and other things of value in return for PTCO deputy constable badges, identification cards, and parking placards. Okay. Accept the bribe payments totaling in excess of $30,000 in return for those law enforcement credentials. In furtherance of the conspiracy and in order to accomplish its objects, the following overt acts, among others, were committed by one or more of the co-conspirators in the Southern District of Indiana and elsewhere, including the following transactions in approximate amounts and dates listed below. In or on about June 5th, Sherfick accepted $250 from person A, a real estate agent, in return for a parking placard. On or about March 6th, the defendant Sherfick caused a package containing a deputy constable badge manufactured by Company C to be sent to a commercial interstate carrier, to wit, United States Parcel Service, from Massachusetts to Indianapolis, in accordance with directions thereon. On or about May 2006, Sherfick accepted $3,000 from person B, the owner of a restaurant and bar, in return for a deputy constable badge, identification card, and parking placard. What? That is always so stupid to me. What in the hell would you want a badge for if you weren't a cop? Nobody, that's stupid to me. I mean, I guess maybe I was just a different cop, but when I was a police officer, I knew every single police officer on every department in every one of the towns and counties and cities around me. I knew every law enforcement officer in Winchester and Randolph County and Newcastle and Henry County and Anderson and Madison County and Muncie and Delaware County. You could not have pulled this off on me. Maybe that's different for others. I don't know, but this is just always something so stupid, in my opinion. Like, this wouldn't, if I would have been riding down the street and pulled you over for something and you whipped out a badge, I would have been like, bullshit. Halloween parties. I'm not paying $3,000 for a Halloween costume. There's no way in hell. Just absolutely insane to me. And the fact that the lieutenant governor and his people didn't further. That's exactly, Tweety Bird, all of that stuff. Now, most of these people are saying that they did this in order to get able to get into parking spots, to be able to get into like sporting events. And again, that's stupid to me too. That's nuts. You know what I mean? So I don't know. The bottom line here is we have a situation where this man, just because he got it pulled off his record, does not mean he is not a sexual predator. He talks like a thug. He acts like a thug. He has the mentality that he's owed everything by the world, and and that's that. So I just want to be clear for everybody out there that this is who our lieutenant governor is associating with. And the lieutenant governor said when he was first questioned about this, well, that was a long time ago, and it was just one thing, and he's turned over a new leaf. Wait a minute. He's turned over a new leaf since when? Since which issue did he turn over a new leaf? Free footlongs. He wanted free footlongs. He wanted to hang out with the lieutenant governor and Diego Morales and do all of that craziness. That's what he was doing. Totally crazy. So we are definitely going to be following this. There is a person who I'm going to get in contact with tomorrow who has even more hard documents about this. And I'm going to try to get in contact with him and get this all pulled off. We're going to be following this. And then I'm going to set up a series of questions that we're going to send out to Beckwith and see if he will respond to. So that we'll see. If you get your record expunged or if you get clemency granted, do the records disappear? So basically this. Technically, they do for background checks for businesses or whatnot. Like if you get it expunged, things can still show up on my case. You can pay, though, to get those removed. But law enforcement can always see them. Law enforcement can always see it, and it can always be there. So I also have some help that's going to be helping me in that category as well. But this is definitely a weird thing that's going on here, because I think that this guy is still out there living the life as a con man. Okay, moving on from here. We're now going, when more comes on with this, we'll bring our findings to you. And when I prepare the questions to send to Beckwith, I will let you know what those questions are, and we'll send them out. And if he responds, we'll get an answer. I'm also trying to get a hold of Sherfick to see if he wants to reply to this. That's how I knew that he had locked me down or he had maybe not locked me down, but he locked his Facebook down, which makes me think that maybe he doesn't want to respond to these. I would hate that if that's the case. I would really like to get him on, because I think he would be at least somewhat interesting to talk to. Okay, so we're now going to jump into... I went away there. We're now going to jump into the Muncie Redevelopment Commission meeting. We're going to just take this at different points, but I want to start this and show this off to you from the beginning, and we're going to talk about this. As we get more for that situation with Sherfick, I will let you know. But here is the Muncie Redevelopment Commission meeting.
Minutes as presented.
Second that motion. Any changes or a motion to accept?
So moved.
There's a motion to accept. Do I have a second for the agenda?
Second.
Okay. Mr. Dale?
Yes.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Purvilla?
Yes.
And Ms. Wagley?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, move on to the approval of the previous meeting memorandas. You have two presented before you today. The same one from April, and then the May minutes as well.
Make a motion to approve April and May minutes as presented.
Second that motion. Any further discussion?
Yes. The May 15th minutes, note that a motion was made to amend the March minute meetings. No, never mind. The one item that I had here was that at the end of the East Corridor Revitalization Plan discussion, I had asked that the neighborhood be allowed to speak. And President Miller stated that they could speak during the public comment period of the meeting. And I asked again, and it was still stated that they could not speak before a decision was made. And I would like that noted in the minutes. I think it's a key minute item.
Okay. Ms. Wagley, do you want to amend your motion to that?
No.
Okay. We have a motion and a second on the floor. I'll go ahead and take roll. Mr. Dale?
No.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Pravilla?
Yes.
And Ms. Wagley?
Yes.
We'll move forward with the claims from Mr. Wright. Good morning, Craig.
Good morning. Sent out the claims yesterday morning. And I do have some copies of invoices. There's a few of them that a little higher dollar amounts this time around. We'll say that the EFT, the first one that you came to from Regions for $59,000, that is for the parking lease and with ARC, and we have been reimbursed for that already. So with that, I'll just open up to any questions you might have.
Yeah, before the meeting, I just asked about the two environmentals, and one's for the Point and one is for Kincannon.
Mhm.
And you may not be able to answer this, but maybe Mr. Howe can. So on Kincannon's, the purchase of that property was not through the MRC. It wasn't MRC money, but we're paying are we actually paying for an environmental on that?
We are paying for the environmental to try to find somebody to occupy that building.
Any other further questions or comments on the claims? I did notice that the amount for the planters downtown came out, so that's good. That's exciting.
And we also had the planners that downtown development was working with us on.
Yeah, that's great. And then there was something else too I wanted to note just for the public, but I don't remember what it was now.
Skate park?
Yes, the skate park amount came out. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that came out as well. Okay. Do I have a motion, I guess, for the claims?
Motion to approve.
Second?
And a second. Mr. Dale?
Yes.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Pravilla?
Yes.
And Ms. Wagley?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you.
Mr. Howe, your report from the city, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Before we go forward, pull back these comments here. As usual, the MRC board is here. There's only 4 of the 5 people. So Zane Bishop is missing. What bothers me about this, number one, is whether we agree or we disagree or we like or we don't like what Andrew Dale does as Democrat chair or not, I absolutely will always respect his fight for transparency at the MRC meetings. It's ridiculous that why do they simply not want to put what happened in the meeting in the notes? It's completely laughable. Isaac Miller is an idiot. Shireen Wegley is an idiot. Now, what really bothers me about this is last month when this got brought up, Probella, the guy between Andrew and Isaac, abstained from voting on the month before minutes. But this month, he voted on them. Now, I understand it's because Shireen put them in one single motion. But in my opinion, he should not vote on something that he was not here for. So if half of the motion had something to do with something he wasn't here for, he should have abstained. Now, if he would have abstained, it still would have passed 2-to-1. That's why it's important about being at these meetings, but I'm not going to give Zane a hard time because I know it must have been something important, because I know that Zane is very good at being here. The deal is, this is just crazy. I mean, it's how underhanded they are at just simple, basic things. Now, we're going to go into this portion of the meeting where Jeff Howell talks, and I watched this in real time with my grandparents the other day. We both, with the three of us, actually sat there and watched this, and none of us had an idea of what the hell he was talking about. This man talks in circles. He is so confused himself that it's pointless. So we're not going to listen to much of this. I'm just pointing this out and letting you hear some of this because of how insane it is.
As we've done in the past.
Last week, the mayor and I met with the developer to address some of the remaining issues with the economic development agreement for that area, which is, again, would just be known as High Point Station. The site was going to feature a multi-use facility, including 54 market rate apartments and approximately 15,000 square feet of commercial and restaurant space on the main level. Combined with green space, this project will transform the previously a pretty unsightly, what had become an unsightly piece of ground into a pretty vibrant gateway into downtown from the northwest area. We are hopeful for a press release soon, and we are hopeful that press release is positive about ready. But we are doing the things that we need to do to be ready or ready. So we'll see how that works out. Muncie Mall redevelopment, we're been kind of deeply in conversation with the planning for significant development in the Muncie Mall area. Project is contingent on support. Let me think about how I want to say that. We're again, it's the Ready Lilly money that we're waiting for to hear about that. So we haven't received a decision, but we're optimistic. If we get funding, the development will represent over $100 million in private investment and attract several national partners across retail, dining, and other sectors.
What's he saying? Does anybody know what he's saying
has
yet?
Potential to significantly increase the property values of the Muncie Mall, which has most recently been assessed for $4.7 million, down from $32 million. So we can see any incremental improvement out there.
They're going to tear the two ends off
would
the
be
mall.
better.
And it's
Will
gonna
certainly
make the mall
help us
better.
recover some of that property tax revenue as well. Muncie Community Schools Partnership. Not a lot to report, but just to kind of let you know, have had some meetings. First of all, I guess the Indiana's new 150-hour work experience requirement for the high school graduation. Central is eager to provide meaningful real-world opportunities for its students. I've met with them a couple times and hope to have more meetings with them about some potential partnerships that we can kind of envision with them on a student-led enterprise or a student-participated enterprise, and explore what it could look like, how it might be implemented, and we're going to see how that can work out. But we want to partner with the school because I see it as a contribution to the emerging workforce, certainly the graduation of the students, but certainly help and develop an emerging workforce, which I think is part of what we do in economic development and work and redevelopment. So we are working with them a bit. Downtown market rate apartments and hotels. Earlier this week, we met with the owners of the Muncie Inn. New owners, you say? I will say it was bought. Didn't know it was bought right away, but it has been bought.
Listen to this.
And they're
No one knows
in
what
the
the
early
hell it is.
stages of renovating the property. I think they've gutted the rooms. They have
They have plans to redo everything in there, and they are experienced hoteliers out of Indianapolis. They own, I think it's 14. We had a nice meeting with them the other day, a couple days ago. They own 14. I think they've owned 24. They actually will buy some to bring back into operation, get them profitable, and sell them. The ones that are closer, and I think Muncie they indicated Muncie would be one of those, would be one that they would portfolio and keep. So,
Mr. Howe, just for clarity's sake, the Muncie Inn was purchased in a private sale though, correct? Not.
oh yeah, we
not
didn't have
through
anything
us
to do
or
with it.
anything.
We didn't have anything to do with it. We just wanted to have a meeting with them, talk about what they plan to do, give some perspective on
Sure,
maybe what we'd like them not to do.
sure.
And it was a very cordial and candid, but we just wanted to make sure that, they did some things that put it in the best possible light to be successful.
This is ridiculous.
And then we see it as perhaps a bit of
That's exactly right.
catalyst
DC
for some
swamp
other
water.
things to happen in that area that
That's
could
exactly
use some-
right.
use some
That's exactly
development.
right, Kate.
redevelopment. Senior Affordable Housing Initiative. Unfortunately, we were unable to assemble the necessary properties, I think, to get an application in this year for the affordable home plans that we had. So we kind of sitting on the sidelines this year. We do have an opportunity to buy a larger lot, which we'll probably talk about sometime in the near future. I think we'll probably try to still do that, to have it ready for next year. Because what I'd like to do is do a multi-unit building. And then what I had proposed this year was they wanted to do a single multi-unit building. I suggested that if they did that, we wanted them to also do some infill, so we could get more homes and certainly put some of the vacant lots that we have back into play. What we ran into, and we'll talk about that here in a minute, but what we ran into is scrambling to get lots that we have that help with the scoring for the tax credits, because the lots that are the most efficient way to get the match and the points and the things that we need are those properties that have come through foreclosure, tax sales or foreclosure, and we didn't have them. And we worked with the land bank. They were very generous about helping us work whether we could do some trading and stuff. We just didn't have the numbers and in the time frame. That was, we got pressed in the time frame too. So we're going to be so we'll need to be mindful of that moving forward. And then
That's all I can take. That's all I can take. There we are. That's all I can take. That's all I can do. He goes on, and there's some back and forth, and let's listen to this.
To this particular effort.
I don't think I disagree with.
Let's find out what goes on here.
Got to figure out, did it come through a tax deed? Because the GIS picked up in 2009, right? And so this we would know. If our portfolio is all tax deed properties, with the exception of one or two that might happen in some other way, which probably mostly would probably end up being commercial.
That's a good question.
Wouldn't fit this bill.
I can't recall. How much you say? 12 a month? $1,200 a month, I believe, is what he said. I'll look here. I'll look and see if I can find it in the records, but I believe it's $1,200 a month.
Well, then we know our portfolio applies.
Okay. I've got other questions, but if somebody else wants to go first.
No good.
So you're thinking 25 on average in the portfolio?
Yeah, I don't want to commit to that number, but yeah, that's the number I'm thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And the agreement is for 4.5 years altogether, is what I read. What was the determinant on that? Why was that until 2030? I'm just curious why that number was, why there's even a date in it. I was just curious. There was a duration of a termination in 4.5 years. Well, not a termination, but there would be a duration of it, and then if no quibbles
Well,
exist. then
You're
think-
correct.
I think it was to set it out at about 5 years, but ended at the end of the year.
Mhm.
I mean, that's,
The end of the decade, essentially.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
no real magic there, but it's, and it's,
So my main question, and I'll get to it, I'll be as brief as I can be. So the land bank proposed to the county and the city grand plan of taking over as many dilapidated and tax sale properties as possible. And they quantified and showed that over X amount of years, so much taxes would be created for the city and for the county and the federal government. And they delineated a pretty interesting plan. Why wouldn't we want to work with the land bank to be the custodian of the maintenance of the property and the paperwork end of things, if they have a large amount of flexibility to deal off at any time?
Well, damn it.
To work with the city, put everything in their hands.
why put everything in there?
Well, I mean, why enlarge the government and have the government do it? I mean, why not have somebody who has the expertise to do that? I'm just asking.
Well, we might be done here.
Next,
Come on, damn it.
larger.
Urged a providential plan that over a specified period of time would deliver real benefit to the community. And I'm just wondering, is that
All right, enough of that. So
not part of the?
let me get this off the screen here and we'll be done. There we go. Essentially, they go back and forth and fight on that a little bit more. And then Jeff goes back to doing what Jeff does. And I was looking here, and I think that might have been why we were having some of the trouble. I was looking here for how much he got last year. Let me look here. Because he gets paid out of edit, I think. 19, he gets paid $1,950 a month. He gets paid $1,950 a month. Jeffrey Howell gets that much. So that answers that question, Jackie. And I feel like what we're paying him for, he's certainly not delivering on. And he's got an office. Matter of fact, he has taken the deputy mayor's office. He's now in the office of the deputy mayor, which is really crazy to me. And so, the mayor really looks at him, and the mayor puts a lot of trust in him, and it floors me. For the love of God, I don't understand why. The MRC, I feel like it really needs to be looked at. I would hope that the mayor would maybe eventually start to put new people into this board. I think that he really needs to do this across all the boards. The Muncie Board of Works We need a new president there. We need somebody out of those three people. We need someone that will ask questions. We need someone that will say more than about the alcohol. I don't give a shit about who has alcohol at what event. I want to know why we're paying the people that we're paying the amounts of money that we're paying. I want to know why we're paying Endpoint Creative, the people that Mark Slusher that live streams the meetings. That guy is routinely terrible at his job. Jeff Howell, for everything that we see as the public, the only thing that we see him doing is speaking during these MRC meetings. And he's up there and he's going, eat up, oop, eat, oop, and nobody knows what he's getting at. It's really, really ridiculous. Carrie, it's not much after taxes are taken out, but it's also not, it's far too much for what these people are actually doing. So you got to keep in mind, you're coming from a point of view of working in the private sector where people are getting paid or should be getting paid good money for good hard work. These people are not doing any good hard work. These people are doing the absolute bare minimum. And like I said, there's plenty of other people that can take care of that. Like, for example, when Dustin Clark is getting paid $15,000 in the same month for far less, I feel like all of these people need to be, cut in half versus where they're at, then cut in half again, then cut in half again. The amounts of money that these folks are being paid for doing the jobs that they're doing is just absolutely asinine. Hal is reading from a script. I've said that since day one. And that's the reason he doesn't have confidence in what he's saying. I've written scripts to do shows before. I've done it on the old show, Perception is Reality. I've done it here from time to time. And when I write it, I know what I'm going to say, basically. I have no problem. But if someone just hands you a script that you're looking at for the first time and reading through it for the first time, you don't believe in what you're reading. First of all, you don't know where you're going when you're reading this sentence. You don't know what the next sentence are, and it's really crazy what that guy gets paid to do. So that's that. I do also want to show you, we've got well, that's true too, Kate. Absolutely true. The next thing from the city of Muncie before we leave here, we're not going to be much longer. I want to show you this. This is important. This is, it is difficult to explain someone else's thoughts. That's absolutely true. The next thing that I want to show you guys is this. This is the agenda. This is the agenda for the, next upcoming Muncie City Council meeting. And I want to talk to you about a couple of things here just real quickly. Okay. So this is not tomorrow. Tomorrow's the 30th. This will be a week from tomorrow. July 7th. They'll have a public hearing at 6:45. For Resolution 1325, declaratory resolution of the Common Council of the City of Muncie, Indiana, declaring an economic revitalization area and waiver of certain requirements for Muncie Hotel Partners, LLC. They'll then start the regular meeting at 7 p.m. They'll go through the pledge, the invocation, the citizen recognition, roll call, approval of minutes, appointments to boards and commissions, committee reports, and ordinances previously introduced. Ordinance 1925, an ordinance to vacate a portion of certain unimproved public street at 401 South Lombard Drive and 400 South Terra Lane in the city of Muncie, Delaware County, Indiana. Ordinance 2025, an ordinance amending Chapter 95, Section 95.09 of the City of Muncie Code of Ordinances, entitled Parks and Recreation. Ordinance 2125, an ordinance of the City of Muncie amending parking regulations near the village. We then go into new ordinances. Ordinance 2225, an ordinance to amend the City of Muncie's comprehensive zoning ordinance from the R1 residence zone to the R5 residence zone premises located at the 2700 block of Benton Road, Muncie, Indiana. Ordinance 2325, an ordinance to amend the City of Muncie's comprehensive zoning ordinance from the R5 residential zone to the BV variety business zone on premises located at 2611 and 2619 West Ethel Avenue. Vacation of an alley and 700 block of Manning Avenue, Muncie, Indiana. Ordinance 2425, an ordinance of approval to amend the text of the City of Muncie comprehensive zoning ordinance regarding lot width, lots coverage, setback, and minimum floor area of the R1, R2, and R3 residential zone, and regarding accessory dwelling use in the R4 residential zone. Ordinance 2525, an ordinance amending Chapter 35, Section 22 of the Muncie City of Ordinances Code of Ordinances, entitled Emergency Medical Services Fees and Collection. I'm interested on what that is. Definitely interested on what that was. I'll tell you in just 1 second there, Tweety Bird. That's a good question. Resolution 1425, a resolution confirming resolution 1325, declaring an economic revitalization area and waiver of certain requirements for Municipal Hotel Partners, LLC, qualifying certain proposed real properties for tax abatement and approving payments in lieu of tax agreement. Resolution 1525, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Muncie establishing a committee to study the development of a community center to replace the former South Madison Community Center. Now, that's interesting. That's all done. That's all that there is. This was put together before the big Brandon switch. I fully expect they might not do it. But I fully expect this council to look at ending their service with their current council attorney, Dan Gibson and Delk McNally. I think that they will end that. Ridenauer and his people, his creatures, the Dan Addicts, they don't like Dan Gibson and they don't like Delk McNally, and they will put pressure on their new Republican to be with it. And I've heard that the new Republican has had thoughts about not liking Dan Gibson for whatever reason. I would be interested to know why. I would like to hear some real serious conversation about why they're doing this. I think it's a bunch of nonsense to do it in the middle. I hope they wait. Maybe they will, but I know that there's a lot of scuttlebutt out there talking about ending the contract with him and getting a more Republican-aligned attorney, I guess. Like, whatever. Is a city government, man. It's not that serious. I don't understand what we're doing. Megan, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I consider myself a conservative-ish leaning libertarian or a libertarian-ish conservative. I am a constitutionally minded individual that says I believe that people should be able to live free without being harassed or molested by the government unless they choose to be harassed or molested by the government. But otherwise, the government should stay the hell out of people's lives. And we should have a small government. I'm pro-police as far as, and as long as that police is very well trained and are not violating constitutional rights. I am pro-military as long as that military's role is protecting America and not getting involved in other foreign wars that we should not be involved in, but that's not really the military's fault. That's normally the politician's fault. I am pro-gun, God-fearing Christian. That's who I am. I'm generally too Republican for the Republicans. At the same time, I'm not Republican enough for them. While people also say, "Oh, look, he's too much of a Democrat," while I'm also not Democrat enough. So, as far as I'm concerned, I hate most of both parties, and if they can both be mad at me, then I'm doing something right. That's where I'm at. Mayor Dan is a great politician. I didn't think it couldn't get worse than the mayor felon. I think most people agree with those beliefs except for the gun issue. Well, I think that most people, I mean, all I said is I'm pro-guns. I mean, I don't know what that means. I'm pro me having guns. If you don't want guns, don't have guns. I don't know. I don't know what else. I don't care. I think people should have guns, but at some point, there'll be a point where I'm like, look, I got the guns I need, and I don't care what everybody else does. I'll close them all down. As long as I'm the only one that has the guns, then I guess I'm good to go. But yeah, I don't know. I've never heard of a gun issue. Well, I don't know what gun issue you're talking about. The only gun issue I have is I need a couple more. that's the only gun issue I have. So this meeting isn't for a week tomorrow, and then a week from tomorrow. So we'll have to see what goes on there. I'm also hearing that we should be seeing another Democrat switching soon. I think it'll be interesting if that happens. I don't know. Ow! Ow! I got a splinter right in my foot, right as I did it. I knew it. I knew I was going to do it. I got wood right below me. I don't know what the other Democrat is waiting for. Like, go ahead and jump already. If you're going to do it, do it. Don't, shit or get off the pot, I guess. That's the way I'm looking at it. Whatever. But I think that both of these parties are not as good off as what they both believe they are currently locally. That's what I'm talking about. Locally. So, lastly, what was the last thing that I had up here? I had up one more thing before we went away. Last thing that I had. There will not be a first meeting of the Winchester City Council meeting. There's a lot going on with that. I have a lot of stuff that I'm currently working on in Winchester, in Henry County, now here in Muncie. It's all just a which pops off first, and we're going to get to all of it, but keep watching. We're going to have a busy week and more than likely even a busier next week too. So stay tuned. If you are not subscribed to the channel, I would highly recommend you getting subscribed. It does not cost you a thing. You can do it for free. Once you hit subscribe, then click the bell and set it to all. We are generally here Sunday through Thursday. I had somebody ask me on Thursday night, well, what's the show tomorrow? And I'm like, there is no show tomorrow. We're off Fridays and Saturdays. We are normally here 5 nights a week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's the night before the week kicks off into the night before nobody works because it's Friday. So we're here the day. This is like you're getting the information the day before everything starts. So when we're doing the show on Sunday night, it's not for Sunday. Our show's for Monday the next day. we're doing Monday night's show, it's not the news at the end of the day. It's the stuff for what's going to happen tomorrow. That's how we like to have it. So hit the bell, because we do release other content that's shorts and static videos, and that's what you want to do that for. Be here this week, either live or via replay, because we're going to have some big shows. I'm also working on getting a couple of big guests. I have reached out to, and I have been communicating. A couple of you told me to reach out to that chick on TikTok, that lady that does, what's her name? Oh, damn it. The Wicked Witch lady, what's her name? And I messaged her, and we spoke just briefly. I think K-Mama said it, Smile or whatever her name is. Sent the information to me. The lady that was dealing with the government trying to steal her property in Colorado or whatever. And I'm trying to get her to come on the program and talk to us and listen to what's going on in Winchester. So that would be a big deal. So stay tuned for that. And we will be back here tomorrow. You guys take care. God bless. Have a good evening. And we will see you then. Goodbye.